looking ahead. World has changed so very much from what it used to be. There is so much hatred.
Man, that thing sounds good, bro.
Hey, man, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, folks, we trying something a little bit new today. We're going to let this thing warm a little bit, right? Going in the background. All right. Yeah, we're going to let this thing warm a little bit, like they say, right? Let this groove get going a little bit with some of this good Robert Wyllie Mitchell that you're listening to, right? If you're not aware, this gentleman, this man of God, this leader, this inspiration to people is something phenomenal. We're going to have discussion today with Robert Wyllie Mitchell. Are y'all ready? Because I'm ready.
Yes,
Robert,
sir.
are you ready?
We ready, man. We ready.
Let's get to it. Let's get to it. All right. So give us a little breakdown of who Robert Wyllie is and where did everything begin?
Oh man. You know who Robert Wyllie Mitchell is, man. You know, I guess when I look back at it, I have I found myself through music, man. And that opportunity, you know, God blessed me with that opportunity with music. I've learned over the years, as I was developing, that my music has changed with my life experiences. Um, you know, the longer you live, man, you know, you start to think different. And I found myself starting to write different. At first, it was as a child, you know, I'm writing about what I'm learning, you know, from my parents. I'm writing about, you know, what I'm learning or seeing in church. But over the years, man, God started dropping lyrics on me that that came from my personal experiences.
Okay.
Um, and I think that had a lot to do with, you know, me turning into and shaping into who I am today. You know, raised in my father's a pastor. Shout out to the Reverend Dr. Bruce C. Mitchell Sr. Um, my mother, my beautiful mother, they kept me close, you know, and they introduced me to God at a young age. And you know, since then, you know how it is with what they call as PKs, and you're gonna find something to do in the church.
Preacher.
And you know, we're gonna rock out if go over there in the musician corner. If you don't like that, we got usher board. If you don't want the usher board, you gonna sing in the choir. So all of that played part in my development. And I'm gonna tell you, it really kicked off. You know, even coming through elementary school, you know, I was diagnosed as a diabetic. What was that? I was about 10 years old.
Really?
About 10 years old, man, and it took me out of school. Didn't know what was going on. I was a kid, you know. So you at that age, trying to figure that out. You know, you telling the kid you can't eat sugar and this, that, and third. That was the end of the world for me.
Right.
So that once we got past that, you know, God pulled me out of that situation and gave me the keys to it. You know, to kind of take control of it. So my direction changed. My
Okay.
direction changed. The way I viewed things changed. You know, and I thought that I think that experience is really a stone or a stepping stool to where I am now, musically, with my character, with my worship. You know, I think that it was really what I went through. All that, you know, so much that develops you. You know, and then it's the people around you. God gives you a circle, and I think the circle He put around me, that it all poured into me learning how to express myself through song. You know, I'm talking about a shy kid. I was very shy. So, you know, from
Oh,
being
really?
shy, yeah, I was
So
shy, man.
that okay. How did you break out of your shyness? because I know that can grip people.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you how I got out of my shyness. Okay. For one, um, you know, I was raised, my father, and that era of men, they didn't really cater to your shyness. When it
They
was
don't.
in Yeah, man. Even in church, it was all right, you nervous, do it anyway. You shy, do it anyway. So I think the church, being such a strong foundation in my life, I think the church kind of put me in a position to, yes, you may be shy, you may be nervous, but it's something that you are saying or something you need to say that somebody needs to hear. And I guess that kind of that weighed more on me than being nervous. I learned how to stand up there nervous, legs shaking, sweating. I learned how to do that and still see the mission through. Um, and then the people, like I said, the circle. I had a circle of guys around me that they were not they didn't baby me when it came to my writing or performance or singing. I had people around me that's gonna tell you, you sound bad, you sound bad. If you
Okay.
look bad, they was gonna tell me, hey, listen, you look terrible today. And they didn't care about how I felt about it. But you don't know how much you need that, until if a person is just constantly getting, hearing good things, the moment something doesn't go that way, they'll crash. So I had people that was going to love me in a manner where even if they tore me down, they was right there to pick me back up. So that pulled me out of my shyness, man. You know.
So that can probably work for a lot of people, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I used to be scared of my voice, but look at me now. I got a whole podcast
That's what I'm
talking
saying,
about.
man.
Hey,
Yeah.
God know what He doing. God put you in
Yeah.
position to do what He needs you to do, right? You just got to get
You
out the
got
way.
that right.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us more about how you developed. At what age did you know that you could sing? Not
Shoot.
necessarily write, but could sing.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm gonna tell you the truth, Elena. It's even today, even like literally right now,
Mm-hmm.
when people refer to me as a singer, um, it makes me nervous.
Really?
I say that because I don't I don't consider myself strictly to be just a singer or strictly, in regard to just a vocalist, but I've learned to look at what I do at my worship, out even, worship, and then I look at it as literally an art, and I told my wife, what was this last week? I said, it was a point where I was praying to God that every time I picked up a microphone, that people, they were blessed. If it was not by anything I was doing, not by anything I said, but just in that moment, Lord, take over and speak to them, or move in a way that these people may need in that specific moment. So that was my prayer. Then I started praying, in regard to, I need my worship to be authentic. And then I start going through things, getting sick, getting bad. The Lord would knock me over, man, but pick me up every time. Knock me over, pick me up. So now I'm to the point where I sing with so much emotion. I told her, we laughed about it because I'm like, I can barely get through songs now, man, without crying. And I said, it's so to me, I'm not hearing. There's so many vocalists in the world. There's so many great singers out here. I said, I have never considered myself to be one of them. I just considered myself to be an authentic worshiper. So it's like, even in church will put you in a comfortable position where the people are, you get used to singing to certain people.
Right.
And church is church. So, it's some real ones in there that'll tell you what it is, but then the
You got the
majority, yeah, the majority, it doesn't take much. You call on Jesus, Jesus he'll take the room. It's not about you in that moment. So, it was not until I had to really say to myself, you know what? Let's not focus on being the great singer. You have to focus on the fact anointing does not mean that you're a great singer. A person, man, can be running over with oil and not sound the best. And that's not what it's about for me. So I don't consider myself this great singer, man. I've always sung, and it started right there in the church. So the church that was my space. The church gave me that opportunity, that space to kind of stretch my legs, man. And that's when I realized, okay, that after being told so much, you have a gift here, or oh, you're so talented here, builds your confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely around, mm, it was definitely around that elementary, middle school era where I kind of honed in on, okay, I can do this. I can do this.
Okay. All right. So since you said that you learned it, that or you realized and started to believe that you can do it in let's say you said elementary and middle school, right?
Yeah,
So
man.
were you singing in school too? Were you one of those? Or you
So
or you had to shine this, like, keep it under the radar?
it was definitely under the radar. I'm
Okay.
gonna tell you this. It was so under the radar. But mind you, I love music. I didn't mind, elementary, middle school. I was in a concert band and I played the sousaphone, played the
The
tuba, and
who?
I played
Who's a
the yeah,
I know my
sousaphone.
I know my instruments, but I don't think I know a sousaphone. What is a sousaphone?
So in marching bands, sousaphone, I was the brass looking
Oh,
instrument that wraps around the person's body.
the cool one. Okay, got you.
Yes. Yeah,
Got you.
man. It's I played that for years in a trumpet.
Uh-huh.
And so I kind of used that as my cover up to so that people wouldn't, put me in that class of singing. So people at school knew me as a musician, but not for singing. And it
Uh,
was not until I think it was an Easter Sunday, man. This was so long ago. It was an Easter Sunday, and one of the church members brought their friend to
mhm.
church.
Okay.
And the girl walks in, I remember, and she like, "You go to my school." I,
Uh-huh.
I was sick to my stomach. I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." I go to the school room. We were talking, and after that, I sang that Sunday. Man, she went to school that Monday and aired me out. I mean, she was telling it went from one person to the next. They like, "Oh, you sing? I didn't know you sing." This, that, and the third. And the secret was out at that point. So, after that, I kind of, I still hid it. I was still hiding. I did not sing in the choir in school. I tried my best. I kept myself in that band area.
Uh-huh.
So it really didn't. I don't think it really came out until I was just at the end of middle school, just starting high school, because of course this was around the Blind Faith movement era.
Okay.
Um, so that's when the singing really just at that point I had just took the lid off. I said, okay, it is what it is. But
Okay.
even before then, you know, through the Holy Crusaders era, um, I wasn't singing with Holy Crusaders. I
Okay.
was
I
playing
want to say, hold up. Really? Okay.
I was playing the keyboard.
You're right.
Yeah.
You reminded me of some stuff. Okay. All right. So let's backtrack. So you said that you was a keyboarder in Holy Crusades. So
Yep.
okay, let me before we jump to that, right? We gonna put a pin in it. We're gonna come back to that. So how did you get exposed to gospel go?
Okay. So uh I gotta give credit where it's due. Um my guy, man, Mubarak. Um Mubarak years ago, we were with him a lot years ago. And he was talking to me, my brother, about starting a band. And so it was this conversation at first. Now, mind you, my father, during that time, he had some strong deacons with him, man. Um, Lord knows, Deacon Lonnie Boone, Deacon Arthur Boone, he had some strong guys with him,
Right.
and they were they they were very adamant about the boys, us in that moment in the church, hanging together and being free to do what we wanted to do, but they just wanted to keep us on track. They didn't want us out in the club. They didn't want us, out doing whatever in the world. They said, keep it, do what you're gonna do, and we can find a way to do it right here in God's house. So my father, man, Mubarak and him were talking, and the band conversation came up. He said, "Well, y'all started band here, mind you." During this time, though gospel go go was a thing, um, it was not. People weren't too friendly with it in churches at the time. It was radical. So it was.
Around what year was that?
Oh, Lord, oh man, this had to be. This was what? Let me see. This was like the late '90s.
Okay. Okay.
I'm talking like '99,
Okay.
2000. It
Okay.
was like I said. It was out. It was a thing. However, not everywhere. Some people it was like, nah, y'all take that noise out of here. So they had a strong stance on, nah, these kids they want to serve God, they want to do this, and we're going to support them, and they're going to do it right here. And when they go out, we're going to be with them. And that was the introduction to my father. Man, they bought the instruments. We set the garage up. We was having band practices in the garage. So it was, y'all get the name, y'all do what y'all do. This was baby complex days. Okay, this is This is 210, not by crystals. This baby complex days.
Okay, so let's give the picture. So the
Okay.
baby complex, if you're familiar with 210 Indian Head Highway,
Yeah.
there is a Chevy dealership, right?
Yes, sir.
And right next to it is I guess you could say what office space or not or
Yeah.
retail space,
Yeah.
right? And nowadays, well actually before I go there, it was purpose for gospel go go. The
Yeah.
baby place, right?
Yeah.
And God's Blynd played there.
Yep.
Some 50 played there. Exodus came through, I believe. If if you wanted to get some gospel go go, you can go to the baby place, right? And now it's been converted to like a motorcycle
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
club or something, right? So
Uh-huh.
it's interesting how things things change, right? But our memories is always gonna keep it alive,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes,
Just
sir.
like our stories behind the crank that we talking about, this gospel go go, right? Is everybody's story behind the crank. All right.
Yes,
So
sir.
with that being said, so the baby plex and was that your first show or that you was going to support at the baby plex?
No, that was not our first show, but we definitely were performing.
Okay.
Um, our first show was actually, and I can't even think of course, it was right at our own church, Mount Joy Baptist Church.
Okay.
That was the first time we kind of came out to the people, and they were welcoming to it. But then the deacons and my father, they said, "Well, we're gonna take this on the road." So we
Okay.
started going to churches, different churches in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's when it got interesting because some people were in support of it, but then, like I said, it was so radical. At the time, it was that you can only imagine some of the faces, on them front rows. Man, I remember my brother, well, who is now my brother-in-law, JB. Man, he would be singing and get the beat in his feet on the front line, and it would drive them people up the wall. They know what was going on. But like I
Mm-hmm.
said, that was it was good to see at such a young age. I'm walking around, man, the keyboard, with the Radio Shack, Yamaha, and not even don't even have a power cord. We putting batteries in the back of it, the big old
Uh-huh.
D batteries in the back. Man, it was, but it was a time that was necessary for our development. So
Mm.
that when Holy Crusaders, the more we went out, we learned the importance of understanding the room you in. But regardless, what we stood on, Delano, was my father put that in us, was that it wasn't what the people had to get past what they were hearing in regard to the music, and we had to figure out a way to get them to focus on the message.
Mm.
And it's hard for some people to accept that when chords or drum beats they sound like something they would hear elsewhere. But if we had to make a point that, regardless as to what it sounds like, this is who we're talking about. This is what we're talking about. And I think once the message became clear, I think it was smooth sailing from that point.
Okay. Okay. We got a
Yeah.
question from Carlton Sampson. The second.
My guy.
I got I gotta salute all people that are the seconds, the thirds, the fourths. I'm a second. So I gotta salute all of the seconds. All right.
Uh,
So
uh,
Carlton Sampson the second has a question. Question is, how would you define your crank?
ah, well, first, Constance, I appreciate you considering it crank. I say that first, but how would I define it? Um, I think that you know people have different when it comes to our ears and what people gravitate to with music. I used to joke about it and laugh and say, "You want to find out how weird a person is? Look at their playlist." But music people gravitate to different music, and that's me. I think of it
Okay.
like a jambalaya. It's a mix of everything for me, so I like to pick. I listen to a lot of different genres because it helps me expand what I'm hearing and the message that I'm trying to get across. I don't think that I don't think that when it comes to prank, you have to open your ears, open yourself up to different sounds to understand what people are thinking and where is a person mentally, physically, spiritually in a moment or while they're producing a song. Are these people are they praying before they, produce these songs, put these songs together? What state of mind are they in? And I think when you sit down and you find a group of people that take their craft serious enough to develop a sound, I think the sky's the limit. So defining crank, I think changes for everybody. I think it's what that person is, finds what they think is worth listening to, or what they like. You may like something I don't like, or I may like something you don't like. But I don't think one person can define what crank is. We hear it, and we either get with the sound, we either like the sound, or we don't. And I think God just blessed me and over the years, some loyal guys that have stuck with me. I think God has just blessed us to learn each other and learn the craft to a point where, you know, we something that we like, people actually like it too. That's how I see it.
All right. I like that. Um, so let me ask you this then. How would you define Sloan? So for all of those that are set it up, because we do have some folks that are not versed in go-go terminology, right?
Yeah.
Crank is exceptional, great sounding, appealing go-go music, right?
Yeah.
Slum, on the other hand, is the exact opposite.
Mm.
So, how would you define slum?
Okay. Um, that word I have heard plenty of times. In regard to my own work, and I say my circle, my circle. Shout out to my man Scooney, man. Scooney, I think he will. For years, Scooney gonna tell me. I say, Scooney, listen to this. I write
Mm-hmm.
something. I may produce something. Scooney gonna listen to it. He'll right off the back. Nah, dog, that's slumming. That's slumming. I mean, straight face, look you in your eye, and not care how you feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the way I define that is whenever we're trying to, Delano, be something that we're not, or if I'm listening to something and I'm trying to recreate or redo something that somebody else has done,
Mm.
slumming is not hard to do. I think that crank really comes from authenticity. I think it really comes from, if you don't even like what you're producing, how
Mm-hmm.
can you expect anybody else to like it? I'm saying when I'm putting something together, or if I hear something and I say I like it, I give it a test. I got to cut it off. I don't want to hear it for a while. I cut it off. When I come back to it, if my feelings haven't changed on it, I know I'm on to something. If I come back to it and I'm like, wasn't quite it. That wasn't it. So slumming can be, sometimes, shoot, man, a lot of bands have crossed the line of slumming by making a mistake of just simply trying to do what else has already been done. You know, and
Mm.
I don't. It's not even about. It's not about single handedly how good an individual is. When we're talking about when we're talking about groups, when we're talking about bands and sounds being put together, it's everybody just simply playing their part. Play
Mm.
your part, man. And when like I said, when you have a group of guys that take it serious enough, that understand what the sound is, how that sound should feel, then now, okay, now we on to something. But you know, slumming is just ah, it's easy to do, man. You can fall into that trap, and it's hard to get out of.
That's true. That's true. And cranking can be so hard to do.
Yeah, and maintain. Yeah,
True.
yeah.
Um, okay, so who started okay, so you okay, is correct me if I'm wrong. So Mubarak started Holy Crusade.
He didn't start it. So let me correct myself. He didn't start it. He was just on that in those beginning years of the development of Holy Crusaders.
Okay.
Holy Crusaders, man, that was all my brother, man. Shout out to my brother, Bruce Mitchell Jr.
Mm.
He got that ball rolling. He definitely he kept us together. A lot of the guys that were in the original Holy Crusaders were
Mm.
classmates of his.
Okay.
They were all classmates, and then we had some of the guys at the church that were a part of it. That was him. And I think um during that Holy Crusader phase, like I said, me and my brother, Mubarak was a huge mentor in regard to he introduced he would make us sit down, man, and listen to different bands or listen to different go and just say, let that soak in. Just let that soak in. You know, I, shoot. I remember my brother was 17 when he started playing with God's Blend. My
Okay.
brother, he got about 5 years on me. Now he was about 17 when he started playing with God's Blend.
Okay.
And now I remember Super Dave. I remember going with my brother to the rehearsals and
Mm.
Dave and Scooney making him just hold the pocket. And they sitting there and they're screaming in his face, don't move, just stay there. But it was stuff like that. It was guys like that had a lot to do with how we interpreted the sound, and I think that was a big that played a big part in how we the next steps, you know, next steps.
You just named some dynamite heavyweights when it
Oh
comes
man,
to
yes sir.
this gospel go-go thing, right? Shoot, just music and go-go period, right?
Yeah,
So Super Dave, for folks that might not know, Super Dave is the dynamite Congo player that plays at the Community of Hope,
yes
right?
sir.
All right. Bruce, Big Bruce, dynamite drummer,
Yes sir.
right?
Yes sir.
Killer on them drums. And Scoon, the mastermind that plays it all, but is
Yep.
a surefire creator and keyboard player
Yep.
for real.
Yep.
Yeah. Scooney is my guy. All of my
Yes.
guys. But Scooney is that's he told me that he's the first person that said, hey, when it's time to sometimes you just gotta dirty up the pocket. You
Yeah.
gotta make it dirty sometimes. It can't be
Yeah.
all crisp and clean. You just gotta dirty it up sometimes.
Yep.
Right? So Scooney had all of the catchy catchphrases that
Yeah.
that that when he said it, you understood it.
You understood it. You understood it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's dig a little deeper. Matter of fact, before that, how did you feel about your very first show with Holy Crusaders? Walk
Ah,
us through.
okay. First show. Um, I was a nervous wreck. I don't even know why I wasn't out front. It was. I think it was just. It was. Hmm, I don't know, man. To be honest, I think it was the guys, everybody, and I'm not gonna say nervous. I think we were just really excited.
Okay.
It was exciting. It was at that time it was fresh for us. Okay, now we out the garage now. We out the basement. It's time to let the people hear what we've been working on. And we were I think then people's outlook on what they thought was big time for us was different. We weren't thinking about, oh man, we're gonna be performing in front of millions of people. We thought we was just making it to simply get on a card with another band. We oh my God, we here now. So I think that excitement, um, to watch the people's reaction to the sound. I think that's what had us so excited. But at that first show, and I know, Lena, we probably sounded terrible. We probably if I could hear the recording from the first show, we probably was slumming, you know. But after we learned each other, the sound for the Crusaders, man, that was to this day some of my favorite music. You know, yeah.
And any chance of y'all recreating it?
Oh man, The way-
Yeah.
I think that would be nice. It would be nice. That would be nice. I sit back. I think well, truthfully, I kind of have kept myself in the mindset of evolution. So I
Right.
think that anytime I say, well, let's do this again, or let's go back, I think it's a way to do it. I think it's a
Okay.
way to do it. It's a time to do it in order for it to be effective. You know. So I say that.
Got it. So who was in that band?
So we had outside of myself, of course, my brother Bruce. You
Mhm.
had my now who's my brother-in-law, JB, uh, James. You had Mubarak. We had at the time at one point it was my guy who also played the keyboard with us,
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Parker. We had two guys from the church, Tyrone. There's another guy, Chris. One of my brother's good friends from school, his name was Maurice. We had Maurice. We had then we brought in a timbali player. His name was BJ.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, he came through. I know I'm probably missing some. Who was it? And we had another guy, another Tyrone, who was on the saxophone at one point, but he played the keyboard as well too. Uh, yeah, man, it was, and then there was a couple other guys who were with us for a while. Lord knows their name will hit me in a minute, and but they had ended up, um, of course, moving on to. I think they started playing with somebody else, but
Okay.
it was a close bond. The Holy Crusaders, we were all connected. It was a close connection, man, through the ministry.
Okay. So you said that it sounds like you were saying that you was either in middle school or high school in Holy Crusaders, right?
Yeah, yeah.
About which age, or was it high school or middle school? Which one?
It wasn't high school. I'm definitely talking early middle school. I probably was. I had to be like 12.
12. Wow.
I had to
Okay.
be like 12, man, because I actually saw a. I have my wife showed me a picture of Sunday morning. We're in the music corner. I'm looking at the picture, and it's all the guys who were in Holy Crusaders. It's a Sunday morning. I'm in my usher uniform, baby blue button-up shirt with the navy blue bow tie. At the time, man, I'm short and chubby, and so that I said, God, that was a long time ago, But yeah, that was definitely like my 11, 12-year-old stages, man.
Okay. So this is gonna be a segue into our next question. All right. So with you being such a young at being a gospel go-go at such a young age, right?
Yeah.
Um, did you expose your classmates to your band and gospel go-go?
So I did well. It was a few. It was a
Okay.
few, but the true exposure to the band, I used to. It was embarrassing, man. I used to that middle school era, like I said, my brother right after that Holy Crusaders phase, and my brother was being introduced to the God's Blend. I would tell people at school, man, I'm in God's Blend. I would just sit beside my brother on the drums, right? As he was playing the drums, I would just sit next to him. And because he had a bad habit of breaking his hi-hat stand. So I'd be sitting there holding his hi-hat closed, and
Mm-hmm.
he'll let me know when to let it go so it can open up. Man, and I used to leave them shows, fingers ringing. But anyway, I would tell people, yeah, man, I'm in the band with God's Blending. But I didn't really open it up to friends until that Blynd Faith movement era.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that point now, I was out front. At that
Okay.
point, I was more confident. And I was more confident in what was going on. I didn't mind people knowing at that point. And then on top of that, um, even with that, shout out to my guy Kerry. Kerry at the time, with all but from God's Blend, he was rapping with God's Blend. But from God's Blend to Blynd Faith, when Kerry and Scooney said, well, you know what, we're gonna put Rob on the mic. I used to tell him like, man, y'all ain't showing me no love, y'all ain't giving me no parts. I'm just standing here. I felt like I wasn't getting enough parts, and it was Kerry who looked at me and was like, well, write something. You want to sing? Well, write. And I said, okay, say less. I think that was the kick. I said, all right, well, I knew at that point if I wanted to sing, I needed to write. And that's when Scooney would come in and let me know what worked, what didn't work. And so I think after that, then I wanted people to know, hey, I want you to hear this song. I wrote this song. I wrote this. I wrote that. So I started throwing it out there more at that point.
Okay. Okay. So you caught the writer's bug. It was the
Yeah.
huh? Okay.
Yep.
So here comes our next question. So remember, we set it up already, right? So this question is from Harold Bousset Jr. I believe I said that correct. If I
I think
just
it's Bussy.
is Bussy, okay, my bad. All right. So the question is, how did you handle playing go gospel, not gospel go but go gospel to those that never heard it before?
Oh man! First off, shout out to Minister Bussy. Um, he recently, his ministry. I was out there. They called me out to Frederick, Maryland, to minister to them at awesome event they had. Awesome event. So again, Minister Bussy, thank you. Shout out to you. But to your question, for those who haven't heard it, I stand on at this point, you either like it or you don't. You know, at this point, I'm to be completely honest. You either like it or you don't. But I need people to understand that my message is my message. I'm When I stand in front of people when I'm performing, I need people to understand that I'm singing to the Lord, and my the purpose of this ministry is to present God's word to people in a way that they usually wouldn't get it. So I'm not caught up on it's okay, ball your face up at me. You can come tell me you ain't like it. But my message is gonna be the same. And my sole purpose here is to present that message that God is who He says He is. That we lifting up the name of Jesus Christ. I need that message. I want to present it in different ways. I don't need it to sound like a Sunday morning. We can do that. I can do that, but I guess Delano would say is you got to catch a fish before you can clean it. So if they never heard it, here it is. Some people like it. Some people say, "Oh, that's different. I can get with that." Some people say, "Nah, man, that ain't my stilo," and I understand. But like I said, to me, it's more so about the message. I'm just blessed to be able to present it with a good sound. So yeah, that's how I look at it.
Okay. So when you started singing with God's Blend, what was the first song that you wrote?
Ah, first song I
And actually,
wrote.
let me add a part B to this, right? Part B is how many times did you have to write it before it was ready?
Oh man. So to be honest with you, Delano, I don't know if it was the first. However, um, it was a song we used to call it Boy Roy. Shout out to
Okay.
Roy. Shout out to Roy. Um, and I used to love the beat to the song, and I'm gonna tell you now. I know I had to write it over. I had wrote over 5 different hooks for the song,
Mm-hmm.
and Carrie and Scooney turned all of them down. They kept saying, "Nah, that ain't it. That's not it. That's not it." And I held it together. Lord knows they was breaking my little heart, but I'm like, you know what? That's all right. I'm gonna keep writing the hook. And I came up with the hook at the time. There's a better place on the other side. Come on and take a ride. I know we can go. And I remember singing it, and Scooney stopped playing. He was like, "That's it, dog. That's it." And I just felt like I'm like, "Oh, we in there now." But that was a song. Carrie made a dance to the song, and I remember every time we would go out to play it, it was like the anticipated song, and it
Okay.
wasn't because of my hook. It was just one of those songs, but that really made me that did it for me. I'm like, oh, I could do this. The people was you know how I felt to be in the early stages of my writing, standing on stage, and I'm watching people sing the lyrics I wrote. I'm watching them sing it. I can't even describe that feeling. So that had me hooked. So that was yeah, that caught me up right there.
Okay. Okay. So how long were you in Blind? I'm sorry, in God's Blend?
Oh man, so like I said, this was Blind Faith. Now,
Oh,
uh,
okay, okay,
yeah, this was Blind Faith. God's Blend. That was my brother was the drummer with them. Like I said, I was just always around. I was
okay.
just there. At every practice, every show, if my brother was there, I was there. So you couldn't tell me I wasn't in the band, you know. But that was them. But that spilled right over into Blind Faith,
Got
and we were together, man. For uh, I would have to ask my brother the timeline for that. Shout out to everybody that's, like I said, we still stepping, man. To a lot of us, shout out to my brother, like I said, Bruce, Phil, aka Phone. My man Phil, man, Spoony, a lot of us were these guys, they loyal. These are loyal guys, man. They beyond friendship over the years, they become brothers, you know. So it's hard to
true,
look at a cutoff time, or I don't even see it because once it started, it never stopped. You know.
true. Blind Faith had some killers in that band.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So speaking of Phil, what's up, my guy? Um, he's currently playing with URB. I believe that's correct, right? Cranking.
It-
He's
okay,
always
yes.
and
Yeah.
then on top of that, he has a unique style of playing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've overheard other Congo players listen to him and be like, "Oh yeah, that's different.
Uh-huh.
That's different. I like that." So salute to that guy. So who are
Yes.
some other hitters that y'all had in Blind Faith?
Oh man. Um shoot. So that was, and I'm gonna tell you something about Blind Faith too. I think it was a point at that point. Me and Mubarak, and now last time I was actually performing with Mubarak was Holy Crusaders, because at one point Mubarak was the lead talk for Holy Crusaders, but like I said, I was on the keyboard. So now when the Blind Faith era kicks around, now I'm in a position where I'm able to sing with him.
Right?
So it was actually three of us up there. Moo was, two mic. He was singing. He was doing a lot with Blind Faith. So it gave me another chance to kind of sit up under his mentorship, and he would tell, just give me little jewels here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was me, him, and Stacy that were singing with
Mm-hmm.
Blind Faith at the time. This was before. Um, this was before Lord. I ain't gonna start calling names. There's too many names in my head right now. But me, Moo, and Stacy were on the front line, of course, with Carrie. Um, but in regard to the hitters, man, don't you when you say that, I gotta say all of them. I have to say all of them. I mean, outside of my loyalty to them, these guys showed me I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today without my complete circle, and I mean complete circle. I'm talking from family to friends to people that have put their hand in this, and not to go off track here, Delano, but I need to say this. Even when it comes to people like yourself, um, Pastor Lee, DJ Soul, DJ Academics, these people who have, helped me along. I remember the day. Then I'm gonna let you finish. I don't want to get off track here. But remember the day you called me, Delano, and you said you were talking to me about I'm still praising. And
Mm-hmm.
you said that you heard the song, you liked it, and I can't remember if you were saying you were trying to get it onto 104.1, or if you were telling me that you already got it on the 104.1. It was one of the
It,
two.
it was coming.
It was coming. Like
It
the
was
next time I heard it, it was on 104.1. You know, so it was you know, I thank you for that, man. I thank you for that. Cause you know, it's all of you all have played part in my development. All of you. You know, this is not I can't take you know the credit for what you all have done. You know, Pastor Lee. I said I'm still praising the Pastor Lee. You know, and me and him talked. He said, listen, man, he enjoyed the song. And he told me, you know, I want to close out my morning show on 95.5. He said, I want to close out my morning show with this song. When I say he kept his word every Sunday faithfully, you know, I'm closing that show out. You know, people calling me, I heard you on the radio, stuff like that, man. It truly blessed me. It really blessed. DJ Soul, I heard you talking about the power mix that he was doing on 104. You know, he put on the 104. You know, man, yeah. I've had a circle that created that, you know, that had a big part in creating who I am today, man. I thank y'all for that.
Respect, respect. Hey, we're glad that you were able to take hold of the mantle and run with it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Man.
but we're gonna talk more about that in a
Yeah.
second. Yeah. So regarding Blynd Faith, right? How
Yeah.
did y'all come up with that name? I love that name.
So honestly, I don't think that I was the I didn't play much part in putting the name together. We
Okay.
did come together and we did, you know, all agree. We all voted on that name being the name. But yeah, I was not the one who actually came up with the name. Of course, at the time, like I said, Kerry was lead talking, so he brought it to the table. I don't know if he came up with it himself. I don't know, or who he, you know, talked with about the name. But I love the name too, man. We were all sold on it. You know, to us at that time, we like, yeah, it's different. We liked, you know, it was one of those. It was definitely one of those catchy ones that we agreed on.
True. True. All right. So we got another question here. Jay Stu says, did he change the name of his band? What band was he in with his brother?
So Jay Stu, bless you, brother. I was with my blood brother again, Bruce Mitchell. Me and him were in Holy Crusaders together. He was the drummer. That's what the man I was the keyboarder with, and then we were also in Blind Faith Movement together, where he was the drummer and I was the singer of a Blind Faith Movement. Now, the question was asked to me earlier. Like I said, you can catch some Blind Faith Movement videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
There's still some on there, man. You can take a listen to them. Blind Faith Movement. Those videos are still on YouTube. But yeah, those are the two bands: Holy Crusaders, Blind Faith Movement.
Okay. All right. So Jay Stu, that's my man Jeff, dynamite drummer. Played a little bit with XB, Exodus band, but you might definitely know him from playing drums for Side by Side band.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Side by side. Good guys. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So a message from Apostle Tanya Mitchell. Awesome. Let's see here. Jay Stu said might be the wrong person, but I think he got it right. I think so. I think so. All right. So we're gonna jump back to some more questions here about Blynd Faith. Right? Um y'all, when it comes to writing, y'all was elite,
Oh,
right?
bless you. Bless you.
Elite. Um I think that I wish that y'all would have put out like something for real, because y'all was so elite with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
man.
were there any instances where y'all was going in that direction, or How did that go?
Um, I'm sorry. 1 second.
Oh yeah, do your thing. Do your
There we
thing.
go. There we go. All right. Phone was messing up here. Now, we had we were definitely on the verge of putting a couple of projects together.
Okay.
Definitely on the verge of putting a couple projects together. And it's unfortunate. When it comes to bands, it's life happens. Life happens, man, and that people people find themselves going through transitions, and it sometimes a person's individual transition does not meet the need, or it may interfere with what the group has going on. And we were still beyond the band. We understood that we were still brothers, man. We were still friends after beyond that. So we understood if it things got in the way, if we couldn't finish something, it wasn't to in friendships or in relationships. We just the way it works is sometimes you start something, you got to come back to it. And sometimes instead of going back to something, you find out how to execute it in a different way. But
Mm-hmm.
we did some studio work. Um, did some studio work. Like I said, it's on some files. I gotta talk to some people to see, if it's ever dropping, man. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely, I know one of those studio songs. You can also find it on YouTube. "Good Morning America." "Good Morning America" by Blynd Faith Movement. That was definitely one of our project songs. But the whole project never dropped. But yeah, it. I'm not saying it won't ever. I just say it didn't drop yet. That's all. That's
Okay.
all.
Okay. So we're gonna speak this into existence. We're gonna put our faith on this. That is
Hey,
gonna
listen.
drop.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
We
indeed.
win. But we will say we putting our faith on, right? We putting our blind faith on.
And you know what? It just hit me. It just hit me.
Yeah.
I don't want to forget. Jay Stu with the Side by Side band. So okay. I'm probably confusing a few people here too. Jay Stu, I had the opportunity to play down at the Wharf. I played at the Wharf. I played at a couple of places throughout the city with the Metropolitan Police Department. Officer Douglas
Mm,
had reached out to me some years ago, and at the time, Jay Stu, I was not. I was that was not a Holy Crusaders or Blind Faith movement event. They do. So I came out as an independent artist in 2015. So when I was at the Wharf, when I was at all of these different functions, within the last few years, I was up there as Robert Wyllie Mitchell. So, but there's just a connection of where Jay Stu must have saw me there. So there's just a connection with the two bands. But no, I've been presenting myself as an independent artist. So that's why me and Delana were talking about the Holy Crusaders and Blind Faith. But yes, um, with the MPD, Jay Stu, I'm sure you've seen me. And what was the name of the event? Lord, it's gonna hit me in a second. It's gonna hit me in a second. But yeah, I just wanted to clear that up. So I'm sure he probably saw me out there. Gotcha, that's what it
yes,
was. Beat the Streets. There we go. Yes, Beat the Streets. That's where it was. I performed with Beat the Streets a few times. Gotcha.
that's what's up. That's what's up. It's great that that people in high positions are able to recognize the impact of go-go and how it
Yes.
impacts people and how it can move them, shape them, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's dope. That's dope. So we also got a message from uh, TCB Tony, Jermaine Pendleton, Rob. one of the most creative in the game. Salute, my dude.
Bless you, man.
And
Bless you.
I can second it.
Bless you. And you
Yeah,
know what?
real.
I want to say, um, bless you, man. That just blessed me. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Delano, and I guess it didn't hit me when you were asking me earlier about, the early stages of my, who I was or how did I get to this point. I'm gonna tell you this. What really helped with my writing and my, what I call art, my worship, and outside of my personal life experiences. When I was in elementary school, okay, when I was in elementary school, mind you, PK. So I had this thing I would love to go with my dad to the Christian bookstore. We would go to the Christian
Okay.
bookstore at least once or twice a week. So I'm at the bookstore and I would ask him every time we went, I needed three things. A pack of I needed a pack of cassette tapes, I needed some fresh batteries, and I needed a cassette tape player. I had like two or three
Mm-hmm.
cassette tape players, wall full of cassette tapes. And then what I would do, this is crazy. My brother he could vouch for this. I would sit in the house. I was not, it was hard for me to be bored. I wasn't outside balling with the guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the house, and here's what I was doing. I would take the cassette tape, put it in the recorder,
Okay.
old recorders, you got to press play and record at the same time. Press play and record,
Mm-hmm.
and I would sing a hook that I wrote or a verse that I wrote. I would
Mm-hmm.
stop it, Delano, put a fresh tape in the other cassette tape player. I would play what I just did and then sing a harmony on the second tape. Now, mind you, in 3 hours,
Okay.
I done went through seven different tapes, but I had full songs on this cassette tape,
Mm-hmm.
and I would take the tape and I didn't let nobody hear him but my brother. I would take it to my brother and be like, I call him Edward. I call him by his middle name. So I would say, Edward, listen to this,
Okay.
listen to this. And some of them, he'd brush it off, being the older brother, like, yeah, 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 just brush it off. But then some of them, he would give me his time and critique it. He'd be like, well, you should do this or you should do that, add this or add that. And I don't think he
Mm-hmm.
knows that I was taking that to heart. I would go back and I would do what he said. And I
Mm-hmm.
did that for years, man, day in and day out. Lord knows I wish I could find them tapes. But and that kind of helped me with my creativity when it came to writing,
Mm-hmm.
and geez, that just hit me when a few minutes ago. I don't know. I wanted to tell you that, but yeah, that was something I did. It wasn't games for me. I had the game system, but no, I needed my cassette tapes. So I think when I look back on it, that really, like to this day, I have those same habits. So I think that yeah, that helps me a lot, man. That was I don't know, that crossed my mind. I want to tell you that.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Man, that's crazy.
So, okay. So, how many songs do you believe you have written over your life?
Over my lifetime, like complete
Yeah.
full songs I've
Complete.
written, man. I would say I've written about, I would say like 30.
Okay.
I would say
Okay.
about 30 that I'm considering to be full songs. That I'm
Okay.
considering to be full songs to this day that right now we could mix, master, and put it out. I'll say about 30. Um, and I shouldn't even say it. But when I got to, what was that? My freshman year of college. I was out
Mm-hmm.
deep in VA. My freshman year of college, and um, I get to. Let me cut this light on. So I get to We got out to college. I bump into my sweet mate. Shout out to my man Donnell, Maze Flawless. I bump into my sweet mate, and he has his laptop out, and he messing around on Pro Tools and some other stuff. And I'm like, oh man, you produce? He like, yeah, man, I produce. You rap? And I said, well, no, I don't rap, but I sing.
Mm-hmm.
My first semester of college, Leno, I wrote I wrote 12 songs. We made a full mixtape in the dorm room.
Really?
Turned the shower into the booth. We went and shout out to my man Reggie. Met my man Reggie down there. Reggie was the only one of us on time on campus that had a car. We
Okay.
get in Reggie's car. Reggie take us down to the pawn shop. We bought a microphone. Bought a
Okay.
microphone. Went back to the dorm room every day. We recorded and mixed that mixtape. My name. Oh man, this is embarrassing. My name. I called myself. The album was called "Birth of a King." Don't look for it. You ain't gonna find it. But it was called "Birth of a King," and it was about 12 songs, fully produced. I listen. The Lord was not on that music, so God, He was still working on me at the time. But
Okay.
I'm just telling you, it was that was my. I used that we made the disc or whatever, and I passed it around campus, and
Mm-hmm.
people was actually coming back like, listen, we need some more music, let's keep it going. And so it got out to my friend Reggie had set it up where we were gonna go perform it somewhere. And I think that's when I said to myself, that's when I stopped. I said, well, now, man, I know I can't go perform it nowhere. But
Right.
I just wanted to get it off, but now I can't. But anyway, that was probably my first mixtape that I had wrote, like four songs. It was about 12 of them.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. All right. So, folks, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take Robert Wyllie Mitchell back down memory lane. I'm about to
Oh Lord.
play some audio here, right?
Uh, oh,
And let me let's let me know what y'all think in the comments, right? Also, um, when you hear, it, let me know what was the inspiration behind this one.
okay.
And hold on a second, cut the volume back up a little bit. And yeah, what was the driving force behind this record?
We say it's happening, we stay back, we come back with them, they might say,
Oh, man.
they say it's happening, we stay back with them, they lie, we come back with them, they might say, they don't know.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Hip hop. I'm rocking non-stop. You know your boy won't stop. See, I'm breaking chains up the ring chains. I'm rolling like to get changed. A couple things. Listen, I'm trying to get my life in order. Trying to leave a legacy for my son and my daughter. The people across the border adapt for what we got, but we still trying to figure out the Jordan time. But I ain't gonna lie, I got a couple of pairs. Somebody get use some J's and some Nike. We love to get fresh and love to get by, but let's work on the closet in the inside. My soul wrapped in a purple robe on the 14, and my soul stands on like y'all mean, and I got a plane that outside in the place you can bring. Yeah.
Say it's happening, we stay back then, they lie, we come back with them, they might say that they don't know, say they They don't know. Say it's happening, we stay back. Coming back to the they don't know.
Yeah. This is all generation. All the population out their frustration. But grabbing guns and blunts and always start blazing. I'd rather be a representation and start breaking. Hey, you think you keeping it real because you hold still? Don't you know the devil will kill? And yo, I don't want to be a dummy walking around smelling funny, looking pumpy and crummy with no money. I'm talking to you, mind you, I'm losing y'all like I be losing my faith. I'm telling the truth. Success is the key, and it's all up to me. I'm just sitting here trying to feel like a game of life. You don't always win. Sometimes you lose, man. That's just the truth. But in this game of life, just make sure you win. Get up, fresh off the stick. Come on,
things happening. We stay back. Come back to they might say. Oh no. They say. Hey. Say it's happening, we stay back. We come back.
So,
Man, you know, that was jeez, that's a ride there. That was listening to that just put me back in the room. Put me back in the room with them guys, man. It that was, I think, when we understood, when it came to, this is crazy. I was just telling this to my youth choir the other day. When it comes to music, when it comes to performance, when it comes to when that stage presence, you have to think of it like a story. Um, you have to think of it. A story has a introduction. It has a rise in action, has a climax, has a fall in action, has a conclusion. I think that when you Scooney understood at that time for the band, he would set up performances to take people on a journey, not just, you had songs like that where, and he would call them, sometimes he just simply called them sound checks. And people do that to this day, but Scooney he understood the importance of setting up a set so that people could go along the ride with you. To when you get on there, from grabbing their attention, and it's like you want to get it, all of the senses, as many senses as you can. Yeah, they see you, but now what are they hearing? You got to grasp it. So he would put it like a sandwich. It was we would ease into where people. What are the words I'm looking for, Delane? I can't. I was so young. I was so much younger at the time. I didn't understand it, but I understand it now. That song right there. I could listen to that all day. Just that it puts me in a calm state, or it's the vibe that it has. I look at that as something you would put at the top of a set. But anyway, all the songs did not feel like that. Like I said, we would build anticipation to the point where, okay, start off easy, work it up, and then let them back down gently. So they say, man, that was one of those tracks. It was one of those. It had a lot of instrumentation in it too. But they say it was definitely one of those tracks where it was warm. It was warm, man. Warm track.
that that's one of those play during the summertime with the windows down,
Yeah.
vibing and ride type joints. Yeah, yeah, we need more of those out in the streets. But AW says, hello, hi, chat. I can't find, I guess, the music, right? So how can people find your music?
So, also, so that I don't, and let me tell you this too, Delano. On that they say,
Mm-hmm.
um, you can barely hear me, in the harmonies.
Mm-hmm.
Who was carrying that hook? Shout out to Stacy. Shout out to Mubarak. They carried that, and so like I said, I was still. This was a time where I was learning. I was kind of learning more than actually putting it out there. These guys were. This was the hey little bro, here's your part. So shout out to them, man. But that was one of them. But all my music, you can find it on iTunes, Spotify. Let me see if I can cut this.
You know what might help? If you take your visor and you know how you get that light behind the visor, that might help you out a little bit too. There you go. All right. You went silent on me. Let me see. You muted yourself. Let me unmute you. Oh, you got to unmute
Sorry.
yourself. There you go.
There we go.
There we go.
So let me say it again. I'm sorry. Thanks for that too. That helps. All the music is on all music downloading platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Um, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. It's on there as well. It's any music downloading platform. You should be able to find the White Flag EP. Um, you should also be able to find the Crank Covers EP. You'll be able to find the single release of Change. What else did I have on it? Single release of Change, and I think right now those are the three. I have the Blessed Storm Volume One that is about to be released on there. Um,
Oh,
Now I want to talk about Crank Covers too. Now Crank
okay.
Covers, that was the latest. That was the latest release on that's available on it. I think that consists of Wake Up. It's a
Mm-hmm.
Wake Up intro. Then Wake Up. Shout out to Miss Flazia, who was featured on Wake Up. Flazia, the lovely Miss Anitra McKinney. Um, Anitra McKinney, who's also on there. It's Tell the World is on there. Um, as a matter of fact, to Anitra McKinney right now, she has been holding me down for years, man. Singing, she handles a lot of that beautiful female's voice that you hear on the backtracks. That is Miss Anitra McKinney. Right now, she is out. I think she's killing the stage with Kim Burrell right now. Lord knows where they at, but you can look her up, Anitra McKinney. But yeah, man, Fly Zaya's on there. Crank Covers again. That's the latest release. If you haven't heard it, go download it. Put it on your phone. I want to 2025, man. We about to start doing some things, and I need to hear from y'all. I need to hear. I want to know what you like. I want to know what you don't like. But the only way you're gonna not know if you don't like it is you got to listen to it first. Download it. That's the latest. That was the latest Crank Covers. We're working on some stuff. I know summertime's around the corner, so we're working on some stuff now. But again, also you can look on my Instagram at RWM Worship. That's really across the board. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at RWM Worship. Yeah, look that up.
And to add to that, right? Um, oh man, I forgot my point, man. It was a good one too. It'll come back to me. My bad.
It
My
will.
bad.
It'll come back to
But the music. Oh, that's what it was. Robert Wyllie Mitchell just mentioned that he's on all of these social media platforms, right? So remember this. You know how people like to do your stories and post your content on your various platforms?
Yes.
You can actually search Robert Wyllie Mitchell in the music additions to all of these platforms for when you're making your post and add his music as the soundtrack and the vibe to what you're posting. So don't forget that music is there.
Yes.
Let show while you're listening to it, you can expose it to all of your friends, all of your family. Use the resources that we got. Push,
That's right.
push this man forward because you know you never know who might need to hear the message. You did. I'm just
Bless
saying.
you. Thank
I'm
you.
just
Thank you.
so as again, just in case you're just jumping in, this is Robert Wyllie Mitchell, the artist,
Yes.
giving
Yes.
his gospel go-go stories behind the crank on Gospel Go-Go 411, where you can where the Christ meets the crank, right? So don't forget, definitely pick up his music because it sure is fire. It sure is fire. So, and you said that you have a new project that you're about to drop. Are there any dates? Are we making an announcement right here, right now?
Um, specific dates. Um, I'm not gonna throw out a specific date. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I did that last time, and
Okay.
some things got in the way, and I wasn't able to keep that date. So I don't want to disappoint anybody or myself. What I'm gonna say is this: follow my social platform. Um, uh, I hate to say that word follow. Join it. Join my social platform. Instagram, Facebook. Join so you can keep up, and I can keep you up to date with what's going on. You know that way because it's coming out very soon. So I want to be able to be specific and accurate with my date. So as time goes on, I will post it. I will keep everybody updated on when this music is dropping. But definitely, again, that's at RWM Worship. If you're not already haven't joined my Instagram or my TikTok or Facebook, do that now at RWM Worship.
Definitely take your time and do it. Right. Um. So we've talked about the evolution from uh, being shy in school to being the the phenomenon of an artist that you are right now, right? So you talked about your music being exposed to the entire Praise 104.1 listening platform and listeners, right? So how did it feel when you first heard your music for the first time on the radio? On
Mm.
top of that, what was the reaction from people that you know?
Oh man, um, I think the feeling I got was, and I got to be careful on how I say this because I don't want to sound boastful or anything. But Delano, I knew God had His hand on that. I'm still praising
Mm-hmm,
before I put it out.
mm-hmm,
And I'm saying that because, you know, I remember the last session in the studio when we recorded it. Um, Shout out to Ron, Nice Guy Studios. I remember the last session when we were recording it. I stepped outside to the car. I would always tell Ron when after I would record, I would say, Ron, can you burn me a quick copy of that? And Spoonie always told me to test it out in the car to make sure it sounds okay through the car. So I
mm-hmm.
said,
Yes.
can you burn me a copy of that real quick? Let me go test it out. And I went to the car and I'm playing I'm Still Praising, and that thing tore me up. I'm talking about I sat there and I boo-hoo cried like a baby, man. when it was playing, and it was I felt like for the first time in a while, I heard the lyrics.
Mm,
My mind, my mind wasn't focused no more on notes. I wasn't focused no more on execution and trying to get a good take or, or keeping up with time. I wasn't focused on none of that. I just wanted to hear it.
mm,
And that thing spoke to me, man. And then to also, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I wrote this, I wrote that, I wrote that. But it wasn't me having to sit down and find words to put together. I was writing where I was,
mm,
in the moment. I was writing where I was, and it was a celebration of I was here, I was there, but no matter what it was, God, I'm still praising. It was yeah, I knew it. I knew it that night. I said, well, if this don't go like I think it's supposed to go, then I ain't nothing but the enemy. But this is it. So it was, and like I said, we just tested the waters with it. But the people's reaction, even yes, the people I knew, they gave me 100% support, man. You know, um, my family, close friends that heard it. It was they patting me on the back, giving me the push I needed to hear. But I paid more attention, no shade to the people that were right there, but I paid more attention to the people that weren't close to me, that
mm,
didn't really know me. I wanted
mm,
to see what their reaction was. And it blew my mind. It blew my mind, that I felt like a song where God was speaking to me was able to be used to touch so many different people. So that blew my mind, man.
that's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So, when you release that, or by releasing that project, what doors were open for you as a Christian artist?
Well, um, now we get to the point where other other people are now helping move this ball. And when I say that, like I said, this is running an era where if you help me, man, I can't thank you enough for you making sure that people heard it. You that phone call you gave me, that was a game changer. To make sure. Listen, I heard what you said. I like what I'm hearing. I want somebody else to hear it. Then, like I said, people who took chances, and when you all didn't have to, but you took chances. You and like I said earlier, Pastor Lee. DJ Soul, man. Shout out to DJ Soul, man. DJ Soul's a good guy. I spoke to DJ Soul a few times. We called him over to the ministry, to Mount Joy Baptist Church. He came and did a few events for us. He did some
Mm-hmm.
events, DJ some events. Um, he walked through the door. It's like talking to family. That's my guy there, man. So, when he put it out, more people heard it. And then I had a couple of it was a couple of like internet radio stations
Okay.
that also put it out. And from that point, I started receiving, different messages and emails of, hey, we want you to come and perform this song here and perform it. So I was able to then, use that song as a foundation when I went out.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was, yeah, that thing. And like I said, it's funny because we were just looking at it as a tester. I was just like, let's just test the water and see how this thing go. But Delano, after that, he started dropping songs on me, man. Dropping song after song. And Scooney, he'll beat me up when I keep calling his name. But he calls it good problems. He was like, well, you got good problems on your hand where you have too much to choose from. So now it's just being um what's the word I'm looking for? It'll hit me in a second. But you just got to be careful on how you package, what you package, when timing is everything. So I think that's the stage I'm at now. Just trying to figure out best way to present. That's all.
Got that. Got um. hmm, Okay. What is your favorite show that you've ever played at during gospel go?
Ooh, man. Um, favorite show. Favorite show. Let's see. Okay, so let me say I've had a couple of I've had a couple of opportunities where it's hard to say which one is my favorite. But what I
Okay.
can say is that there were there are things that have happened at these shows that I'll never forget.
Okay.
That make them, you know, memorable monuments, man. I've gone places where people have come to me at the end of the show expressing how they never imagined, you know, getting or feeling the way they felt at the moment to a certain sound.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when I say that, that's when I started to realize the difference, the not realize the difference, but understand the power and just in gospel go go. There's so many people get caught up on the sound that they don't always focus on the message.
Mm-hmm.
So I was learning in my performances that sometimes you have to stop. And I mean, we're gonna stop right here and we're gonna focus in on this. I want us to focus in on the move of God. Focus in. If you feel like ain't nothing moving now, then we're gonna call it what it is, and we're gonna claim that it's starting to move today. And I thought that was in those moments, watching people worship to a go-go sound, it's something to see. And then I learned the importance of mixing my sound up in regard to I don't have to just do go-go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm in a position where I need people to understand why I worship the way I do. So it was at that point, it was no holds bars. I told Scorny who was producing, I'm like, listen, don't put no ceiling on me. Don't put no limits here. We know what the message is. Give me what you got. Let's sit down, let's create, let's do this. And so once I did that, I think at that point, at every show, there was something that was happening that blew my mind. So it wasn't about the number of people there. It wasn't about how big the room was. It was just the effectiveness of God's word, man. That's what really makes a show what it is for me. You
Okay. Okay. What are your top three gospel go-go songs
know.
that and these are songs that you are not affiliated with?
Ooh, that hurt. Okay. Okay. Affiliated with. Now, we're off the bat. Um, when it comes to gospel go-go favorite music, I gotta give the props to Exodus. Of course, they've had from where this really started to take off for me or really grab my attention. With me now, I'm talking about original Complex days next to Crystals, where
Mm-hmm.
Mubarak would take me and my brother, and we just sitting on the side. And I'm watching Pastor Taylor standing up on the speakers. This stuff it was a wow moment. You know, the word of God is like fire. All this stuff those are wow moments for me. Um, So I know that. Give me the name of songs, Leno, because I'm gonna name them all wrong. But I can tell you now that from that point in my life, I can guarantee you two of them came from Exodus. You know, so it's But I mean, bands was man, y'all bands was cranking. You know, during the Crystal Skating Rink area complex days. You know
Mm,
when who else we had up there? Submission.
mm,
Um,
mm.
Jeez. You know what? All right, so now let's make it more recent. Um, my guy, um, Pastor Pastor Lindsay, Reverend Lindsay. Lord, what was the name of the band? See, I know him from like middle school years, so we called him Stefan. You know, they call him Showtime.
You talking about
But this
Wanted
was
Band?
what say it again?
Wanted Band.
Wanted Band. I gotta get them in respect. I liked Wanted Band. I thought, in all honesty, I thought they had brought a spark of electricity um, to gospel go go. I really thought they did, man. I actually went to go see them. They were playing at some church over in Marlow Heights, and I went to go see them. I just watched how the room responded, and I
Mm,
was like, okay, I liked it. I mean, it was something beautiful to see. You know, when the youth are responding like that, and when half of them may not realize the message yet, but you're like, okay, they're gonna get it soon. You know, so it's always exciting to see them having a good time like that to God's word, man. But yeah, that was, you know. So I can't. I'm not going. No, you ain't setting me up, man. No, man. I ain't naming no three songs. All these bands got their respect for me, man.
that's true. That's what's up. That's what's
Yeah.
up. Okay. So if you could build a band,
Mm.
who would be your drummer? Who would be your Congo player? Who would be your ball players? On through the line.
If I could build a man, I'm gonna tell you exactly who they'd be. My drummer, It would be nobody other than Bruce Elwood Mitchell Jr. Okay,
I knew it was
Say it
coming.
right now. Best drummer in the world. Give me Bruce any day. My percussionist, I gotta go with my man Phil, aka Funk. Phil been holding me down. Let me tell you something. If I had to build a band, it's built, Delano. It's built. You ain't listen. You'd have to. I don't even gotta say nothing about Scooney. You know what I mean? Scooney, man. You don't come across these guys that have been with me, man, over the last years. You don't come across people like this, on a normal.
Mm,
Eventually, and I'm just being honest, people, they stick around as long as something is benefiting them. A lot of people do. But once a person, some people feel like, okay, well, this not benefiting me anymore, or I don't see any room for me to get over here or get over in that area. They're turning back on you, man, and walk away. And
mm,
I have not dealt with that from this group of guys. These guys, I pick up the phone and I call, shout out to my guy Olu. I pick up the phone and I call these guys and they in place, and I ain't talking about just music. I'm talking about on if I need them, they in place. So I appreciate them guys. You talking about building a band, man? It's built, man. I wouldn't look anywhere else first. Yeah,
true. True.
yeah.
Let's see here. Over on Facebook, Erica Washington says that you have that Marvin Gaye type of vibe in your life, right? She also mentioned Wanted. So y'all both on the same wavelength there. So
Okay.
we got people watching everywhere.
Yeah.
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. everybody's tapping in. So,
Oh, bless you, Sister Erica.
yeah. So I think we had a good conversation. What you
Yeah,
think?
man. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's I want to again. I want to say it in front of everybody. I told you earlier, but I think that again, Delano, this platform you have here, it's something powerful. I think that we really. I I'm not in front of the camera much talking like this. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not that people don't really get to understand what I may be thinking or who I may be outside of singing or doing ministry or something like that. But I think it's important for people to know from Robert Wyllie Mitchell's perspective. I think it's important for everybody to know and understand that you know the way I see this and the way I want people to understand me is someone who understand. I understand where people there can be a negative light on gospel go, a negative light on the gospel period. I want people to
Mm-hmm.
understand that we in this thing together. We all living life. We all messing up. I hear my father preach all the time. He say, a person, if a person becomes qualified, they're qualified when they go through things. So I don't want you all to think, well, this guy is he's just another one of so and so, just another one of so and so. I'm trying to keep it transparent as much as I can, but what I mean by that is when you listen to my music, I want you to be able to find place for yourself. Um, when you come to see me, I don't want it to be about simply what I'm presenting or simply this, that, or the third. I want you to find place for yourself on your journey where you can say, well, you know what? Yes, I've been through this, but I still got a reason to praise. Yeah, I've been through that, but I still got a reason to praise. Pastor Tony Lee played on the radio one of my songs, "I Want to See It," talking about I want to see the glory of God. I want to see God move in my life. I want a person to be able to listen to that song and say, you know what? God, if you haven't done it already, I want to see it. God, if you've done it already, I want to see this. I want to see that. I want people to find importance in my music. I want them to find importance in my music. So, like I said, I'm saying that now because I don't say it on camera much. I don't go live and things like that. So your podcast giving me this opportunity and a lot of other brothers and sisters. I hope it is giving people more insight on who the artist is, on who these bands are, where they come from, what they stand for, and and join the movement. And God's in the blessing business right now, so we're gonna claim that and this keep this thing going, man. I enjoyed watching your other podcasts. I enjoyed watching a few of them. You asked me, I enjoyed a few of them. So. Um, Yeah, what did I say? I said I was gonna say this too. My goal was to come on here tonight and try to remember as much as I could. But Pastor Lee said something I thought I haven't heard that before yet. He said something to you. You had asked him his three favorite gospel go-go songs,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, he mentioned the Community of Hope, the band
Mm-hmm.
and the praise team there. And he said when he finished it, he said, I think it was something along the lines of, "It's a poor frog that doesn't brag about his own pond."
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't heard that one before, but I thought that was good, man. So when you asked me that question, I thought it was funny when you said that I wasn't affiliated with. But so I'm throwing myself out there. I'm still praising will forever be one of my favorite gospel go-go songs. Um, but yeah, man, Delano, you got a good thing going. I enjoyed this conversation, brother.
Hey, I appreciate you being on the platform, my guy.
I
So
thank you for having me. Thank you.
you're welcome. So speaking on keeping this thing going, I will say this: that next week on the 24th, we will be taking a break. But we will be right back at you on May the 1st. And when I say we got a banger, we got a banger. So this is who we got coming back on May the 1st. Are y'all ready? I wish I had a drum roll. Do I got a drum roll over here? Maybe not. Anyway, all right. So here we go. We have, let me get this off.
Hey.
Let me get that off the screen so it can be easily seen. All right. So we have the month number 2, the lead Parker, the innovator of submission band, vertical band, and a whole bunch of other things. When I say one of the certified pioneers of gospel go-go and has been continuously evolving and elevating gospel go-go.
Nice.
Is this guy, the month 2. Y'all want to tune in on May the 1st at 7 p.m. Trust me. Well, my guy, again, I appreciate you for coming through. Y'all make sure y'all listen to the music. Go check him out, Robert Wyllie Mitchell. And what's your handles on all of your social media one more time?
All of the social media, it is at RWM Worship. That's RWM WORSHIP at RWM Worship. Instagram, Facebook. Check it out. All the music, iTunes, Spotify, any streaming platform. Download it. Take a listen to it. Let me know what you think. So we can make whatever improvement, change whatever we need to change, and I can keep you updated on what's coming out next.
Hey, y'all heard it. Y'all heard it one more time. I was about to say you heard it first, but you heard it one more time. So make sure that you go and check out Robert Wyllie Mitchell because he got a lot of great music that you would definitely enjoy and be inspired by at the same time. So that's going to be all for tonight, folks. Until May the 1st, we'll see you then. All right? Y'all take it easy and have a good one.